Shyla, which I'm going to start going with the screen name, some alien. So my rant for today is my childhood horrors. This is not an issue for everyone. I'm just trying to state why I am the way I am and why I say some of the things that I do say. So this is rant number 16. I want to start with it. My childhood horror was being in a class of probably about 20 to 15 children, and in the process of doing our assignments, this was back in 1972. I can remember sitting in a row of, I think, 5 children per row, and I was on the first row as you come into the classroom, and I was the third child. And then throughout the whole class, I noticed that I was one of the 3 black children in the classroom. So that was the third child on the first row. But long story short, we were all getting ready to do our assignments, and our teacher handed out our worksheets or what have you. And then middle ways into her instructional time, I remember leaning over to look to see what one of the other children was doing to my right, and was told to stop staring at her paper and to pay attention to my own paper. Well, to my surprise, my paper was blank, but hers had math problems on it. So thinking that the teacher may have made a mistake, I asked the teacher. I raised my hand and said, well, I noticed my paper, there's no problems on it, and referred back to the child that was sitting on the side of me. And the teacher looked at me, though looks could kill, and told me, pay attention to your own paper. At this time, I didn't say another word. I just sat there, and I began to look around, to look in front of me to see what was on the girl, which was a colored girl in front of me, what was on her paper. But she too had a blank sheet. And as I leaned back to look behind me, and I think she had a blank sheet as well. But before I could even look back to see, the teacher told me to turn around and mind my own business. So that incident stuck with me for a while. And I'm getting that out the way to say that I guess I could say I'm slightly self-taught, because at that point, a couple years later, I was labeled as learning disability. But I didn't have a learning disability. I had been failed by the system and wasn't challenged and wasn't given the proper equipment to do the work to learn such problems. And now, here it is, almost 50 years later, I consider myself self-taught because I've learned a lot of stuff on my own, a lot of reading stuff, material. I may not be perfect, but the way I see it, I may not be all book smart and all this, which I have had training in early education, childhood education, and different diplomas and what have you. But all of this, I'm not going to say it's a waste of time, but you can't take any of this knowledge or anything with you. So, I mean, it's good to know a lot of worldly things to function here on earth. But as far as to all these people with their masters and all this here, they still end up the same place everyone else does. So I don't think they should get it twisted. We're all equal in the end. So if you have any comments or any input that you want to add to this one, of course it is a rant and rave, but it's not one of my major ones. But I just wanted to put some insight in on my thinking and why I post what I post. It may not be all grammatically or whatever you want to call it, grammar correct, but I know what I'm saying and I know what I've been through and where I've been. So unless you've been where I've been or walked where I've walked, then there's nothing much that you can say or critique my work to tell me how I'm not or am who I am.